Shed man for more than just a podcast. Nigel here in my shed with my view from the shed. The Tottenham game first, outstanding result for West Ham. Going into the game, I wasn't nervous. I was quite hopeful, which considering I'm very pessimistic, I suppose is a start to begin with. I thought personally that it would be quite an even game, that we should get a point from it. I thought Tottenham would be a bit more difficult, and I think they would come out firing to try and get one over on us after their bad runs of results recently. The opposite happened. West Ham straight out the blocks. Fantastic ball in for me by Bowen. That Antonio got on the end off. Good save by Lloris. I'll give him credit for that on the line point blank. But the first to react, Antonio to tap it in. And West Ham have known we were one of the worst teams for blowing leads last season. I think we gave up more points from winning positions than any other team. So sometimes in the past, scoring a bit early has never been good for West Ham. This time the defence came in, dug in. I thought Dawson was outstanding at the back. He really was. And Diop, they done well. They kept Harry Kane down to half chances. That's all he had, half chances. And when he got it on target, Fabianski was there to clear up. Second half, he brings Bow on. And, Bow in the past has haunted us. Back in the days when we were at Upton Park, he's had a few wonder goals and free kicks against us. He didn't even get a chance to get into the game before Lingard makes it 2-0. I'm no lover of VAR. In fact, I'd rather it wasn't in play at all. But I suppose I should be grateful. The linesman is flagging, obviously, he thinks Fornals is offside. When you look back at it using VAR, it shows that Fornals wasn't offside, and Fornals didn't touch the ball, so would have been not deemed in play at all. Hence why the goal was given, thanks to VAR. But you win some, you lose some. But I'm still anti-VAR, still don't agree with it. But thankfully, it worked in our favour. And then, realistically though, West Ham seemed to sit back, defend deep, and invite Tottenham onto us, hoping that our defence would hold firm with the 2-goal lead. Which I suppose it did work out that way. We were very fortunate, though. I think there was one stat that flashed up where Tottenham had 17 shots on goal but only 4 on target, where West Ham had 4 shots on goal and 4 on target. So, but the thing about football is it's all about putting the ball in the net. And we were fortunate, I suppose. Bow hit the bar. Son's weird deflection where Kufal's cleared the ball against Son, and it's spooned up over. It's the post and bypasses Davison Sanchez, who's running in to tap it into the empty net. I mean, if that had gone in, that would have been a bit of an heartbreaker, as much as Lanzini's goal was in the return fixture back at White Hart Lane at the beginning of the season. It's given me the belief now. I'm very pessimistic as a West Ham fan. I'm always waiting for it to blow up, to fail. What can go wrong will go wrong. That's the way I like to approach West Ham, because then when it does go wrong, it doesn't leave me too disappointed. But it's even got me now thinking that actually I think this is our opportunity to make the top 4. I think near enough now. If we fail to get top 6, then we've had a bad run in the games that are coming up. And the performances don't look like we're going to go on a bad run, but you never know when they turn up. But with the Chelsea draw against Southampton, with Liverpool losing, or Everton are winning, but if Everton win their game in hand, they're still 2 points behind us. And the most important thing, it's not about games in hand, it's points on the board. And we're grinding out the results. And all credit to David Moyes, realistically. Even for the fact is, again, still people are criticising the fact he never brought a striker in. Was it the owners? Was it Moyes? Moyes has come out more than often enough to say it was him. So I'm happy to go with the fact that he didn't want a striker, bring anyone in. It does leave us light up front, but we're still getting goals. And I suppose if you've got enough goal-scoring midfielders, you can get away with not having a striker. Or an out striker. I mean, at the end of the day, our goal-scoring midfielders outscored Spurs strikers. So I'm happy with everything, the way it's going. And if Moyes thinks he can get more out of this team the way it is without adding to it, fair play to him. And because at the end of the day, if it all goes wrong, he is the one, as well as the owners, that will cop the flak. The next set of fixtures still difficult, but after the Tottenham win, that sets us up nicely. Originally, out of the 5 bank games of Tottenham, Man City, Leeds, Man United, Arsenal, I was hoping that if we got five points, that would still leave us in a good position to then try and make the tops, or to try and cement us in the top 7. Now with 3 points against Spurs. The Man City game up next, it's a bit of pressure off for me. I think it's a bit of a free hit. I wouldn't have a problem losing 3 or 4-0 against Man City if we go at them, if we go and attack them and create chances and put them on the back foot. Because you don't know what happened. We managed to get a point against them. I know it wasn't the same that Man City performances that they've been grinding out. I don't know, 15, 16 wins or undefeated on the trot. They're almost robotic in the way that they play. It's second nature to them now. But at some point, hopefully, it could be us. The wheels will come off, and where normally you'd be looking with trepidation playing Man City, I'm not filled with that worry as such, and I'm really looking forward to that game next week now. After Man City, you've got Leeds, a team we can blow out a cold against, even though it's been a long time since we played them in home in the league. But I do feel that we should have enough for this Leeds team. It's one of them things. It could turn out to be a draw. You know, you can look back at the draws against Fulham and Brighton and see how perhaps against, I'm not calling Leeds a lesser team, they're doing well, they're having a great system, play some lovely football under Bielsa, and it's one of them games that's probably harder to call. After Leeds, you've got Man United and then Arsenal. The Man United's front line of Rashford, Martial and Greenwood obviously could cause trouble with our defence that we see early in the season. But that game at the London Stadium, we lost 3-1. We were 1-0 up and cruising, and they had that weird goal where the ball sort of was kicked out and bent back in. And the only worry for me is obviously with the Man United game, it's possible that Jesse Lingard won't be able to play against his parent club, and that may unset the balance of the team. So out of it, that's the Man City's probably the one game that I think we may struggle on, because I think Lingard's been the key to the last 4 or 5 games, to the performances that we've put in, which possibly showed in the FA Cup game against Man United how much we missed Lingard when he's not in the team. And then Arsenal, I do not fear Arsenal at all. I think at the back they're very susceptible, and the way we play, using the width really well, getting bodies in the box, I think we can easily cause Arsenal problems this season in that game. So it could turn out, I mean, if we say the next 4 games that we can beat Leeds, maybe nick a point against Man United, beat Arsenal, that should still see us sitting in 4th or 5th spot for me. Then go into the last, 8 games of the season, where if you can pick 5 or 6 wins up out of the last 8 games, we've got the likes of Everton and Leicester and Chelsea in that bank of games. Who knows where we can finish? It's just a pity that the fans ain't there, because this possibly could be the season up there where 85, 86 is always mentioned, but it would be more like the last season at Upton Park. 85, 86 was, for me, will always be special, because West Ham were in chance of actually winning the title, even though we finished 3rd. Going into the last Saturday, all it needed was Chelsea to beat Liverpool, and then the winners of the league would have been either us or Everton, who played the last game of the season out on the bank holiday Monday. So the fact that we were in with the title race after we'd played all our home games, we were sitting 2nd. We'd just beat Ipswich 2-1. We had West Brom away on the Saturday, hoping that they would slip up, that Liverpool would slip up, which history says they didn't slip up. Dalglish scored and Liverpool went on to do the double that year. But that's why nothing for me to be better a season, to have a better season than 85, 86, it's got to be with a chance of winning the league, which is obviously, the league's going to Manchester now. We all know that. Next up, I just want to go through something I saw on Facebook the other day. I'm in a few football groups on Facebook, very interesting with the memories and the nostalgia. And in Football Nostalgia group, big group, there's about 17,000 members. You can see Gary Jones there put a post up, which interested me. So basically, as you can see, Club Football Cheesy says you start with your club's most recent match and find a player that you can link back to as far as you can go, all the way to the first game. So each player has to have played at least one game with each other and try and do it in the shortest amount of players. It says there that Gary did a few. The best he could come up with Chelsea, which was 11. I thought, let's have a go at beating that with West Ham. Let's see what I can come up with. Luckily for me, Mark Noble came on as a sub today. That really helps. So obviously we start with Mark Noble, whose first game was in 2004. In 2004 he played with Don Hutchinson, who was in his second spell with the club, but his first spell with Jointus in 1994. And Don played against Newcastle in 1994 with Alvin Martin. Alvin, we go back to 1978 against Aston Villa. Alvin makes his debut. Playing with him is Billy Bonds. Bill joined the club in 67, made his debut in the August of 67, playing with Bobby Moore. We then jump back then. Bobby Moore made his debut, we all know, Man United in the September 1958. In goal for West Ham was Ernie Gregory. Ernie made his debut in 1939. In that game was Jim Barrett Sr. But Jim made his debut against Spurs in the March of 1925. In that game was George Kay. George Kay, who would go on to manage Liverpool after the war. But George, in his first game for West Ham, played against Arsenal during the First World War. In 1916, George played with a player that had played for West Ham before the First World War and had left us to go to Blackburn. But during the war, played many games for West Ham. So I'm including him in, and that was Danny Shea. Danny Shea made his debut for West Ham against Norwich in the December of 1907, and in that game was William Grasham. William Grasham played in West Ham's very first game against Gravesend on the 2nd of September 1900 at the Memorial Grounds in Canning Town. So from the most recent game of West Ham to West Ham United's very first game in 1900, I've managed to do it in 10 steps. And until next time, I'll see you later.